One of the most common forms of jealousy that I've only come across more recently as I travel. A lot of sisters actually come to me and ask me, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but that's okay. They'll say, well, how come the Quran has these rules for men, but he has totally different rules for women? How come men don't have to cover? How come we have these divorce laws and they seem to be tipped in the favor of men and not women? And what are women going to get in Jannah? And I'm not saying those are questions that should be ridiculed. But there's one thing that we have to be careful about. We're talking about Allah, who when He gives regulation, I only try to learn His regulation. I didn't come up with the policy. I only try to understand the policy and teach the policy. But the one who gave the policy is the most merciful, is the most loving, is the most fair. And if that question already smells of, I think there's something unfair here, or I feel there's something unfair here, that's a very serious problem. That feeling that somehow I have been shortchanged, even by Allah in what He gave. I need to understand exactly why Allah told me to do what He did. Let me tell you, if somebody asked me why did Allah reveal, for example, for women to cover, my honest answer will be, I don't know. Honestly, I can think of reasons for myself, some benefits of the regulation, but that's not because Allah revealed those benefits. That's just something I can think of. I'm not going to dare say, well, here are the reasons Allah gave the regulation of khimar, of covering, of jilbab, and here are the reasons. And those are not reasons from Allah. Often Allah will give you something and not give you a reason. But He will say that you should reflect on your own. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِي. You reflect on your own why. You think for yourself why, and Allah will not give you a regulation. I know one thing for sure, what He gives is a mercy, and what He gives is fair. By the way, these ayat in Surah An-Nisa are after the ayat of inheritance, and of course in inheritance it's not equal distribution in Islam. Men and women don't get equal share. Whether they're spouses or daughters or mothers, they don't get equal share. Their division is different. So the thought does occur. And so what does Allah say? لِلْرِجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا اكْتَسَبْنَا. Men are only going to get part of the share that they earn themselves. And women will get from whatever they earn themselves. It's interesting the use of the word min in that phrase. You're not going to get everything you worked for in this life. You'll get a part of it. Part of it's reserved for later. Or you worked in this life, but some of it wasn't worthy of being compensated. Some of it wasn't, your intentions weren't pure enough. Your deed wasn't pure enough. So you'll only get the part of it that you actually earned. That was actually good and worthy of being compensated. Not all of it. And Allah says, I have standards for men and I have standards for women. Stop wishing for what the other has. Quit wishing for what the other has. And then He says, وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. One of the most remarkable phrases in the Quran. Within the same ayah. He says, and ask Allah for His favor. By the way, fadl here isn't just favor, it's preference. You see, in jealousy, a person feels that this one has fadl over me. Or I have fadl over them. This one has fadl over me, or a preference over me in terms of wealth, or in terms of appearance, or in terms of opportunity. Or a girl might feel that way in a house when her sister gets marriage proposals and she's not getting any marriage proposals. This one has a fadl over me. Allah says, you want fadl, instead of asking for that preference over another creation of Allah, ask Allah to give you a fadl from Him. Stop comparing what others are getting. Focus on what more you can get from Allah Himself. Almost pretend nobody else exists. Don't worry about anybody else. If you can internalize that, you'll live a much happier life, by the way. When you're sitting in a class and you're the only one who's not understanding, you're lost, the teacher is like talking about something and you're like, I don't know even what planet I'm on. I lost him like 10 minutes ago. Why am I even sitting here? And the guy next to you or the girl next to you is answering every single question, raising her hand, and you're like, I'm going to run this kid over in the parking lot. I hate this guy. He makes me feel so dumb because he answers every single question. You know what's just happened? All of your focus is on someone who you think is smarter than you, or is a teacher's pet, or is a show-off, or is getting all the attention, and they're making you look bad or embarrassing you, while you forgot why you're there. You're a student. When you're sitting in that classroom, nobody else exists. It's just you and the teacher. You came there to learn. And you should embarrass yourself and say, I lost you. You need to explain yourself again. You owe that to yourself. You can't be embarrassed to ask. You came to further yourself, not to prove your worth to anybody else. That's not why you come to learn. The same way at work, the same way in your family. You don't just silence yourself and wither yourself away because somebody else was given a preference. If something is wrong, you speak up. You're entitled to something, you speak up. You say it. You don't just keep burning on the inside and letting that fester and create a hate inside of you. One of the things we beg Allah when we come before Him on Judgment Day is وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Do not place ghil, meaning ill feeling, towards other believers in our hearts. We don't want that in this dunya, and Allah will remove it actually in Jannah. He removes it in Jannah. So it can happen in this life. It can happen that you develop an ill feeling. Oh, this person doesn't deserve the position they're in. They don't deserve to be doing this or the other. You don't feel that way, fine. There are people that'll say, well, this one gets paid a lot more than I do. Why do they get paid more than I do? What is it your business what they get paid? What are you doing? What have you earned? And if you feel that you should be earning more, then you should make a case for it. And say, here, I deserve more. And here's why. Not because of someone else, but because of your own merits. وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Ask Allah from His own favor. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا. Allah has always known everything. When we stop becoming victims by comparison, when we stop thinking of ourselves as a man, as a woman, as anybody, we stop thinking of ourselves as we've been left behind because of other people. There's nobody between you and Allah. And you want to get ahead, ask Allah to get ahead. Ask Allah, وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Otherwise, you'll just spend your life complaining about how other people have done you wrong, and how other people have denied you opportunity, how now everybody got and you didn't get, and you're just going to be miserable, and people around you are going to be miserable because of you. This is the protection Allah has given us in this remarkable ayah.